Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Strange Orphan Podcast. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back to Ep 2. Yeah, so we're in the news again. That was really quick. Compliments of the Beckhams. Here's the thing. I don't like commenting on other people's lives. Like I don't know their circumstance. I'm not in their family. But I did read the letter that the Brooklyn Beckham boy wrote, and I was like just painfully nodding along with it. Like, yep, I know this horror circus. I've been in this nightmare before. So I thought we might talk about one of the biggies today of like how to know when to go. I wore my Victoria Beckham eyeshadow palette today. In honor of this episode. And yeah, I was just thinking like, here's what I'm thinking. Let me know if you're okay with it. We're still in the year of the snake, so let's just get some of the like more housekeeping episodes out of the way. Like let's tackle the big ones, but the slightly bummery ones, like how to know when to go, how to deal with your grief, how to handle it when your life collapses because you've finally chosen yourself for once. Let's tackle some of those, and then once we're into the year of the horse, we're really galloping into Feb, we'll switch over into the more actionable, ambitious concepts of like rebuilding a self. But for now, we're shedding. Let's just shed. Let's just keep shedding the heavy stuff. We'll slough it off, and then we ride in Feb. So yeah. So for now, also I wrote a. Please, can you please like and subscribe to this thing? I wrote myself a post-it. Don't make me beg. Don't make me pathetic. So yeah, so when to cut loose? Well, there's really no easy answer, except for when you're on the dance floor and your mom is grinding on your leg. Yeah. Oh, that poor kid. That Gen Z, man. You don't know how to have a good time. You can't have a little bump and grind with your mom at your wedding. I think that's a glaring indication that you should maybe get out. Get out now. That house is on fire. I think what makes this such a triggering topic for so many people is there seems to be like two camps or two trains of thought when it comes to estrangement. One group thinks that we're just a bunch of flippant ingrates, just willy-nilly turning our noses up at perfectly good families, like a summer camp that doesn't serve a good enough lunch. And then there's the rest of us standing in a parking lot with our arms crossed, like not sure where to go. Knowing that this isn't a trend, it's pretty much survival. So yeah, I can tell you this. No one wants to be without a family. Like no one wants to not have anywhere to go at the holidays. No one wants to not have anybody to call when your car breaks down or like not have backup healthcare. Like think this through. No one wants to. One of the biggest, most painful aspects of estrangement for me has been the like innocuous things you lose, like those, like having a parent to call, not that I ever did, but having a parent to call to just talk about nothing, like after work, or if you had a strange interaction during your day and you just need like kind reflection. Those are the things that I would love. I mean, no one wants to just lose the warmth of a parent for no reason. That's like an emotional landline. No one just severs that for fun. The human brain is literally designed to avoid being outcast, like at all costs. Like for centuries, our brains have formed to avoid being kicked out of the tribe. So you have to kind of ask yourself, like, how bad that tribe is that someone's willing to say, no, I think I'm gonna brave the wilderness. I'm gonna go. I would, however, advise, if you are considering cutting ties, to proceed with slight caution and to go slowly. I think so often we don't want to be in the discomfort of awkwardness or feeling like we are on a, in a place that doesn't feel good, so we just want to sever it. I would start by having having a hard conversation and saying, "Hey, this is how I feel. Can you meet me here?" Like, invite them to the middle of the bridge. And then if they don't want to meet you there, then you can burn it down. And also give people, have grace for people's emotional shortcomings. I think a lot of times we just want the discomfort to go away. But sometimes people have to have time to meet you where you are or where maybe you've grown to that takes them a little bit. You gotta kind of try a little bit before you burn the bridge down. And if you're being met with dismissals and turnbacks, that's a different story. And if you are being met with abuse, that's 100% a different story. Get out. Do what you gotta do. Fun fact, I didn't even break up with my family. I just asked for better treatment, and then I asked to not be called mean names, and they just never called me again. It's not funny. It's awful, and it devastated me for a very long time. But that would be an unwillingness to see you as a human, as an individual, that you really can't battle. You just sort of got to walk away from that. I don't know. Boomers, man, there's not a lot of, there's sort of a lot of stonewalling going on there. I tried. Bye. I think that's the case for a lot of us. For so many, there's sort of this no, they're there situation. Conversations become more fraught and harder to have. And there's just this ache of physically being somewhere that's supposed to be your home, but you just still feel completely unseen and alone. And that discomfort of this is supposed to be so different. It's really difficult to be somewhere where you have to emotionally pretend. It's you just feel like you're holding your breath. It reminds me of that Melissa Banks quote, "Hell is proximity without intimacy." It's tough. And then for others of us, it's quite different. It's quite glaring. It's more pronounced. It's a Game of Thrones episode. Narcissistic families are wild, man. And they're brutal. And they wear you down by controlling you and dominating you, sometimes in very obvious ways, and then sometimes in subtle manipulation tactics, like pulling out of making your wedding dress at the 11th hour, or turning your wedding night into a scene from Dirty Dancing. Tactics that just make you go, huh? Tactics that sort of bump and grind you down. I'll stop. It's not funny. It's not funny because when I read this Brooklyn Boys letter, you could so clearly see that what he was trying to do is, when you've been in a narcissistic home for so long, you just want to pull the curtains back on blatant, manipulative, narcissistic behavior. And I could just feel, I know exactly where he was emotionally when he wrote that letter, because it's I don't want to have to write this. I don't want to have to defend myself to you strangers out in the world who I don't know, but yet my family's slam-dogging me in the press. So I have to come out and say all these things that are so ick that I can only imagine the ick of having to write that letter is surpassed by the ick of living it. It's just awful. I felt so, in the wedding dress thing, come on. I had something similar happen to me. If you swapped out the spectacle of a giant billionaire wedding with just the spectacle of trying to break into Hollywood, it was strange and bizarre behavior that, in retrospect, I'm wow, that is messed up. But at the time, you don't see it because you're their child. So as I was trying to like build up a career, and as I was slowly gaining a little more success and a little more stability on my own, and just sort of embarking on the promise of like a bigger life, my successes weren't met with encouragement or enthusiasm or support, but actually like strange and odd, bizarre, undermining attempts to kind of destroy them. The strangest part were these emails. So my mom's preferred method of communication was never straightforward phone calls or texts. It was always via email. And these emails were like random, sparsely worded emails that would start in the subject and then like flow is a generous word, but like go into the body. So you'd have to kind of parse them together. They honestly read like what a serial killer would send into like a mailroom. Like they read like a cryptic cipher. And so I would call or send a text and be like, hey, I have an audition today, like wish me luck. And I'd get back like something so off topic. I'd get back like, wow, the Jets really blew it today. What? Question mark. Honestly, half the time these emails felt like they'd been written by like a bot. They kind of felt like what like Donald Trump tweets sometimes. Like, where are we going with this? And then so you'd spend time like reading these emails that didn't make any sense. And then I'd try to write back something about sports and I didn't know anything about sports. In a narcissistic home, the spotlight can't just land on you. It has to be like slightly deflected away or turned into like a subtle criticism, or they'd have to confuse you. This one time I had walked a red carpet and I said, I was like in my 20s, you're just like excited to be there. You're like, I was like in shock that I was invited to any of these things. So I sent my mom like a picture of myself at this red carpet. Like, look, kid you not. No comment back, but she sent me back a picture of a different girl who had been at the same premiere with just the comment that said, her eyebrows, they're nice. They were nice. Another time I had an audition and I had gotten my hair cut or I'd dyed my hair right before it. And I sent her an email picture of myself and I was like, wish me luck. And she wrote back, did you dye your hair? You look like that actress. She went nuts. I don't think I didn't book that one. I couldn't see what was happening at the time. Like all I knew is that I just felt awful after each of these exchanges. Like I felt like I'd been wounded, but I like couldn't locate the origin of the wound. And half the time you're like, oh, that's nothing, right? Like that's just her. That's just my parent. It's interesting. People say narcissistic abuse is death by 1,000 cuts. And while it certainly is, I also think it's like death by endless, insidious confusions, like being fed a cruel little riddle that kind of takes you off your path and throws you off course. When I read about the dress thing, I was like, oh, I've seen those maneuvers before. I got invited to an event once and my mother was like, I'm sending you a dress. And I was like a 30-year-old woman at the time. I could have easily picked out a dress. But for some reason, she insisted on sending me a dress to wear to this event. And I took it out of the package and I went and got it tailored to fit me. And then I wore it to the event. And then I came home and I took it off and I got into bed. And it wasn't until I was like, my eyes were closed that I was like, oh, that dress is hideous. Like these subtle moves of sabotage that you don't see right away. You can kind of rationalize them like, oh, she was busy. She couldn't make the dress. But then later, the thorn is still in your heart. Narcissism is like a topiary maze where like the longer you are trapped inside of it, the harder it is to see yourself out of it. And it's only after you walk away that you go like, what the F was all that? Like, how did I not see what was happening? But you don't. Plus, it's also harder when it's your parent because a part of you doesn't want to see the truth. Like, I think I made those emails, cryptic ciphers, to survive. I think the brain protects the heart in a way. Because if you saw the truth, it would be really painful to see. Oedipus gouged his eyes out with pins when he found out his mother was his girlfriend. So sometimes we have to blind ourselves from certain things in order to survive them. It's not fun. So I give a lot of credit to this Brooklyn kid for coming out with the truth. I mean, it's just exhausting. If you step out of the role of obedient child, like a pawn, they'll destroy you. And so you have to do whatever you can to kind of like really separate. It's so painful. There's the trauma of the truth. That is that your family wants to dominate you and thwart you and take away your chances of happiness if it doesn't involve them being in power. And then there's the trauma of like getting over all of it. I read he had to have a second wedding because the first one was so traumatizing. Like, what a bummer. What a bummer. I mean, I'm glad they have the cash for it. My second wedding would be at like Dunkin' Donuts. They'd probably make it delicious, like a donut cake. That'd be so good. I love Dunkin' Donuts. I wish Dunkin' Donuts would sponsor this pod with an orphan donut. A donut hole to fill the hole in your heart, to fill the hole your parents left in your heart. It's not funny. It's a little funny. So what do you do? How do you know when to go? The short answer is I can't tell you that, and I don't know. Some meager advice I could give you is to perhaps like look at the places and the relationships where when you walk away from them, you're left feeling smaller or confused or unsure of yourself. The relationships where you feel not bolstered, but slightly thrown off your axis, wobbly, deterred from your goals. And then I would cut them out immediately. Because here's what I do know. Love is not a messenger of confusion. Love is not a vehicle for ick, ever. Love is not a Fincher movie. And you don't have to stay to the end to find out that the calls and the emails are coming from your own home. You can get out now. You can save yourself. But yeah, it's not easy. It's hard to see. But clarity is the gift you get on the other side of being brave. Clarity and some donut holes to fill that hole in your heart. All right. Well, we got through the heavy hitter today. I'm sure this has provided many with very little clarity on what to do. But that's what I'm here for. All right, that's it. Thanks for stopping by. See you next week.